So is the president actually gearing up for war, or was this takedown of General Soleimani about something even bigger? Welcome to rant number 2. Let's be abundantly clear here. None of us want more war in the Middle East. I get it. It is the one thing that unites, believe it or not, the real conservatives, the nationalist conservatives, with even those on the progressive left. We don't want any more endless wars in the Middle East. We don't want to build and sustain our economy through the military-industrial complex. And by the way, it wasn't a bunch of hippies in the 1960s that discovered this truth and enlightened the rest of America. It was outgoing Republican President Dwight D. Eisenhower who warned of this on the eve of the inauguration of John F. Kennedy. Nobody really listened to Eisenhower back in the day. He was the old guy on his way out. We had the new, charismatic, good-looking John F. Kennedy coming in. And what happened? Well, the dirty little secret is because he didn't want to be part of the industrial military complex and necessarily just give them their carte blanche war in Vietnam that they wanted. He had to go, and go he did. And it wasn't from a book depository shot. It was from a grassy knoll in Dallas, Texas. Lyndon Johnson, he liked the war. He helped architect and create it. He was part of that military-industrial complex. Establishment, whether they be Republican or whether they be Democrat, establishment candidates are pro-war. They can try to talk the talk that they're not from time to time, but they really are. What makes Donald Trump an existential threat to these people? They know he's not pro-war. He's pro-America. He's pro-protection of Americans, but he's not pro-prolonged war. The Middle East has to be handled one of two ways: all in or all out. I have been saying that on my radio show for years. All in or all out. Either go there with the resolve to finally just get it done, which means, and here you go, some of you are not going to like this because you've been challenging me on, we don't care what the Bible says about Israel having that land. No, that document's too old. Do you understand how idiotic, asinine, and stupidly uneducated you sound when your argument is, well, you can't use the Bible as proof. The Bible's too old. The age of the document is what actually lends it for its credibility. That you have a document which far exceeds any new little documents that might have been written in the 1940s, peace accords of the 1960s. It predates all of that. That said, that same old document, the Bible, when Israel, under the command of General Joshua, was given the command by God to go in and inhabit the land, they were given a pretty clear directive. Kill everything. Every person, man, woman, boy, girl, baby, old. Kill every living thing. That meant the livestock, the family pets, all of it. Leave nothing alive. In other words, lay waste and start over. Why do you think Israel, which is about that big in comparison to the enemy that surrounds it, that hates their very existence, why is it that they're still able to be there and they have not been overtaken and overrun. Well, aside from the fact that it's a special covenant between them and God, that other thing you don't like me to bring up in these little chats we have, but I'm sorry, it's all relevant, it's all works, it's all truth. But Israel has a pretty simple philosophy, and they've had it since the book of Exodus, the book of Deuteronomy, the book of Joshua. We will lay waste to the enemy. You want to make war with us? We're not simply going to slap you on the wrist, hit you with sanctions, and ask you to play nice with us. No, that's what America does. That's why we keep having these problems. No, if we make war with you, we're going to take you out. Period. And President Trump has gotten to the place where he understands he is going to use the might of the American military, the strength of our economy. We can make nasty war better than anybody. And here's the thing. And I have a son in the United States military. I have a soon-to-be daughter-in-law in the United States military. I don't want them to be in harm's way. I don't want anybody's child in harm's way. You do understand we have the technology, the capability, and we are completely set up right now. We can make nasty war without ever having to put a boot on the ground. We're fighting an enemy that lives in caves and straps dynamite to themselves because in their warped Islamic ideology and theology, the only way they are guaranteed entrance into heaven to spend eternity with Allah and his little pimp Muhammad is if they die for him. Wow, what a great faith. And yet you mock Christianity, and Christianity is the only faith where the divinity is not asking you to die for him. He came and died for you. That's the story of Christ. That's the story of the crucifixion. That's the story of the resurrection. God died to save man. Every other faith system, if you want to obtain any type of favor with the deity, in particular, the wonderful religion of non-peace, Islam. Oh, no, just radical Islam. No, there's no such thing as radical and calm Islam. There's no such thing as radical and non-radical Islam. There's evolutionary Islam. There's revolutionary Islam. Evolutionary Islam puts on a suit and tie and uses our own laws against us. They will use our constitution, our laws, to get what they want. Sharia law. Domination and control. Revolutionary Islam, they want Sharia law. They want dominance and control. They just simply draw a sword to do it. Both groups want exactly the same thing because both groups are driven by the same ideology. Well, how do we defeat that? Kill it. You want all this nonsense in the Middle East to go away? Level it. Level it. Turn it completely back into a sandbox and let evolution or God through new miraculous creation start it all over there, and maybe this time they'll get it right. They'll actually join us in the 21st century. We are dealing with people who are third world at best. They're 4th century barbarians at worst. And the only reason they are able to make any type of hurt against us is by our own stupidity and our own restraint. Because we don't want CNN broadcasting it, and we don't want them talking bad about us in Hollywood and protesting and having rallies, and we're mean. No, get it done. Don't you just love? The president was really clear. Hey, you hurt one American for what we did to Soleimani. I'm going to take out 52 Iranian targets. You understand he could do that like that and not one boot would ever have to touch ground. Why do you think President Trump doesn't sweat North Korea? We could remove North Korea, we could remove Iran from the map in a matter of minutes. And now the Ayatollah understands that. At first, it was the shock. Then it was the bluster and the anger and you can't do this. But I'm telling you, you watch that funeral, they're terrified. Under Jimmy Carter, they took 52 Americans hostage and kept them. Because we had an inept, impotent, feckless, spineless, leaderless, so-called president in Jimmy Carter. Reagan the cowboy got elected. We got our hostages back. And you better understand that the Ayatollah understands there is a guy in the White House right now that isn't going to send over planes with pallets of money on them. He isn't going to talk tough like a John Kerry or a Joe Biden. He's just going to tell you, play nice or I'm going to erase you. And now they know he means it. And you know what, beloved? This is actually a great deterrent to war. Because if they're really this stuck on stupid, then this is where we follow the advice of General George Patton.
You want it? By making the other poor dumb bastard die for his country.
Exactly. They want to die this great jihad, holy war, death, so that they can have entrance and see Allah and pimp daddy Muhammad. We can grant that to them. It's what we do here in America. We grant wishes. We're so giving that way. All in or all out. The problem is we can't get all out. Now again, I have said this repeatedly. The mess over there, a lot of it is our creation with regime change and what we were there for initially back in the early 20th century. We wanted the oil. I get it. But the point is, we got this problem now, and the Obama appeasements, the appeasements of the left, this cowering and fear, and oh my God, if we do anything, they're going to strike back. Yeah, then wipe them out completely. Tulsi Gabbard, who some of you on the right have kind of been looking at saying, she's a Democrat, but on some things she's kind of with us. Well, she said, if we go to war with Iran, it'll make everything in Afghanistan and Iraq pale in comparison. Listen, Sweet Pea, we're not going to put any boots on the ground there. We're not going to put any boots on the ground in North Korea. This will be done with orders and push codes and just be done. I love how we put 52 stealth fighters on the runway of our base. Iran, we just parked them here. It doesn't mean anything. We did it during Soleimani's funeral. They are scared right now. And again, we heard no hue and cry from Hollywood, from the liberal left, when Barack Obama was doing drone strikes at weddings. Weddings. Taking out terror targets who were sitting at a table eating wedding cake next to women and children. But Donald Trump, he took out Soleimani, who was on a diplomatic mission. You can't honestly say that with a straight face. And I'm sorry, this is where, and I know I've said nice things about Jimmy Dore on here, but this is where Jimmy Dore and I really, wow, Jimmy, don't be stupid, because I don't believe you're stupid, and certainly don't cross the line and be a traitor here. This was a vile, reprehensible individual. He did not deserve to breathe. The world is better off without him. And I know what you're worried about, that this action leads to another action, leads to another, and total, complete escalation. The only escalation will be if Iran does anything else. This president will annihilate them. And you know what? That puts an end to the endless war. And by the way, don't be fooled. The American people, they will support the president on this. Mark my words. Again, General Patton.
All this stuff you've heard about America not wanting to fight, wanting to stay out of the war, is a lot of horse dung. Americans traditionally love to fight.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, a like, you're a subscriber to the channel, smack the bell for notification of all of my rants, and don't forget to check us out on the other channel and my new book, it's coming.